लोग हमारी तरफ से एक प्यार भरा नमस्ते,
नमस्कार,
वनकम,
नमस्कार,
खुशामदीद,
सलाम अलैकुम,
सत श्री अकाल,
మీకు అందరికీ వందనము,
जय स्वामी नारायण,
जय श्री कृष्ण।
जय जिनेन्द्र,
हमारे इस्माइली भाई बंधुओं को बोलते हैं याली मदद।
मोलाली मदद बोलते हुए सारे फीजी बंदर को बोल के नीसा बोला बटजन हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारे मैं से फालतू बाबा
And of course myself, your darling प्यारी फालतू रानी।
And of course बटजन अभी first of all let me tell you this COVID shelter in place day number 123. That's right बटजन 123 days हम लोग घर पे बैठ के बिना बाहर निकले हाँ only for essential stuff we're doing this but again let me tell you one thing globally if you look at it is not helping at all. Globally the pandemic is growing. We hope there will be some kind of control on that. In fact US was leading as you guys know the number of cases. Now India is also catching up with the number of cases climbing like skyrocketing literally.
Right.
We'll talk more about that in the news segment but abhi ke let's go see what's happening on the roads with raste ka haal ekdam total sustainable.
It's time for the Bandu Traffic Update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
Yeah, Banajan, wherever you are, you can pick up the phone and give us a call. Let us know what's happening on the roads. Well, Banajan, let me tell you, this is the new normal of Fridays, where there's not much of traffic to report for you guys because all the freeways are moving smooth. Say for a few accidents here and there, I would say a fire on 101 northbound near Berryessa Road in San Jose. The right shoulder is affected there. Watch out, drive very carefully. CHP is on the scene. You should know, Banajan, this is the fire season. Of course our first responders are really working really hard to make sure it doesn't happen, doesn't grow beyond a certain point. So yes, watch out for those fires for sure. And there's a downed pole on because of an accident actually on 84 westbound west of 680 in Sunol area. The left lane is affected out there. The CHP is on the scene, but the pole has to be removed out. So there will be, I think, people working in that area. So watch out and drive very carefully. Apart from the other parts of the Bay Area is pretty much smooth. I have no other incidents report for you guys. The freeways, because they're so empty, or rather because it's in slow motion, construction work still is going on some places. So if you're at night times, you definitely freeway has got a lot of construction work going on. But if it's not during the day, they are focusing on work towards the inlands, I suppose. So again, watch out for the cone zones for sure, Banajan. And right now it's time for us to go into a Gane Ka Kida for today, which is again something which I got for you from Falter, what happened?
Which song, Alta Baba?
It's a very nice song, Falter. Yesterday one of our bandhus actually reminded us of that song, which actually is a motivational song. It's a Kishore Kumar and Lakshmikant combination. You know which song?
Which one?
Ruk jana nahi. And of course, listen to the song, enjoy the song. This movie, I don't know which movie it is from, but I think it was called Imtihan, I suppose. Oh, wow, what a name, right? Anyway, Kishore Kumar voice started off, so let me just keep my mouth shut.
कांटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बहार के रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के कांटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बहार के ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही चला था सपने ही लेके कोई नहीं तो तेरे अपने हैं सपने ये प्यार के
Of course, Bajan, a movie starring Vinod Khanna, Tanuja. I think even Binduji was there in the movie, I suppose. Well, I don't know exactly what the movie is all about, but it was called Imtihan. Obviously, examination, I guess. So, or testing period, I suppose, what it means, I guess, right?
Oh, okay.
Could be testing period. That's what we're going through right now. We're going through testing period. Yes, it also is COVID testing period, but as long as you come negative, then it's good, okay? And right now, let's see. Say hello to all our bandhus on our Facebook page. Raghav, hi. Mohammad Furkhan Saab, welcome. आप सभी लोगों को स्वागत है आज का Good Morning Bay पे. And of course, right now it's time for us to be going into our news headlines. And here in news headlines, आपको, if you want to catch up the detailed news and stories about the things we share with you guys on air, you definitely can find it on newsblog mediamahima.com. Once again, that's mediamahima.com. लेकिन अभी के लिए बंजा, let's see what's happening with the news. What do you think, Fatwani?
Yes, absolutely, Alphabet.
Let's go.
Well, just as we were listening to the Gani Kakida Banajan, we had a breaking news headline that came with regard to our Chief Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She has confirmed that her cancer has reappeared and she's undergoing chemotherapy right now. But she says, I'm not leaving the Supreme Court. So she's staying on. Texas... okay, actually, there's some news coming out with regard to a task force report which says 18 states in the coronavirus red zone should now start to roll back their reopening plans. 3 white men who were charged in the killing of the black jogger Ahmaud Arbery, remember that, in Georgia, have pled not guilty. Mark Esper, Secretary of Defense, unveils guidance on symbols effectively banning the Confederate flag on military installations. U.S. immigration officials are spreading the coronavirus with detainee transfers from facility to facility. On the eve of its bankruptcy, Neiman Marcus has showered its executives with major bonuses. Twitter says about 130 accounts were targeted in a cyber attack this week. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin is now open to blanket forgiveness for smaller business relief loans. And red alert in China as floods maroon equipment to fight the coronavirus. In news from India, it is time for the United Nations rebirth. Prime Minister Modi tells in his address, he tells the UN. It's also important to note that India on Friday, as of today, has become the 3rd country in the world to reach 1 million coronavirus cases, just behind the USA and Brazil. And finally, the IITs in India are relaxing their admission criterion due to partial cancellation of Class 12 exams, according to the Human Resource and Development Minister in India.
And right now, that is the news in detail for you guys. So yes, as I told you, if you catch up, if you missed any of this, the news updates we gave you guys on air, you can go check it out on newsblog mediamahima.com. And right now, Bajan, this is the news.
Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has announced her cancer recurrence, Bandhajan, and says that chemotherapy is yielding positive results. The Liberal Justice, who's 87 years old, said that she remains, quote, fully able, unquote, to continue in her post. Earlier this week, Ginsburg was treated at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore after having a fever and chills and undergoing an endoscopic procedure to clean out a bile duct stent that was placed last August, the court said at the time. Ginsburg said her cancer treatment is unrelated to this week's incident. The court ended its term last week with a ruling upholding the ability of Congress and a New York prosecutor to attempt to obtain President Donald Trump's financial records, but the court this week has also ruled on 2 death penalty appeals and a Florida voting access case. You can also find out more about her health, and we'll try to bring you that right here on Good Morning Bay. And unpublished document prepared for the White House Coronavirus Task Force and obtained by the Center for Public Integrity, a non-profit newsroom, recommends that 18 states in the coronavirus red zone for cases should roll back reopening measures amid surging cases. The red zone is defined in the 359-page report as those core-based statistical areas and counties that during the last week reported both new cases above 100 per 100,000 of the population and a diagnostic test positivity result above 10%. The report outlines measures counties in the red zone should take. It encourages residents to wear a mask at all times outside the home and maintain physical distance. It also recommends that the public officials close bars and gyms and limit social gatherings to 10 people or fewer, which would mean rolling back reopening positions in these places. This report comes despite Donald Trump's insistence that states reopen and a push to send the nation's children back to school even as cases increase. Now we're open and we want to stay open and we'll stay open. We're not closing. We'll put out the fires as they come out, Trump said in a White House statement earlier this month.
Wow, put out the fires as they come out?
Yeah, that's what he says. And which are the different states that are in the red zone? Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, Nevada, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Utah. It's interesting to see that Washington State is not there in this list.
Why do you say it's not? What's so surprising about Washington
Because
State?
they were at one point they were the hot spot, remember?
Yeah, but didn't they actually have a lockdown back again, and
Yeah,
then
they did.
were able to? So basically, I think the lockdown is kind of working the spread, trying to control the spread part of it. So please be very mindful about this lockdown, and whatever we have here in California, let's try to follow it,
Right.
so we don't actually have a severe case.
Right, exactly. So, let's talk about India and how the coronavirus is impacting India. India became the third country in the world to record more than 1 million coronavirus cases, behind only the United States and Brazil, with a record single-day surge of 34,956 cases. India's COVID-19 tally zoomed past 10 lakhs on Friday, just 3 days after it crossed the 9 lakh mark, according to the Union Health Ministry data. The nationwide positivity rate was 5% between May 7th and 21st, 8.6% in the previous fortnight, which is June 19th through July 2nd, and any figure above 5% is worrisome and indicates that only serious patients are being tested. An actual caseload of COVID-19 patients in the country is 3.31 lakhs, and around a third, that's about 34.18% of total 9.68 lakh cases detected so far, and it has been steadily declining according to the Health Ministry. A whopping 31.6 lakh people are currently in quarantine across the country. So, what is happening? Well, the coronavirus vaccine called Covaxin of Bharat Biotech has started its human trials today at PGI Rohtak. 3 subjects were enrolled in this particular study, and all have tolerated the vaccine really well. There were no adverse effects according to officials. So we will get you more updates right here on Good Morning Babe and Jan. And if you want to catch up on the detailed news story, you can go to MediaMahima.com. The 3 white men charged with the murder of a black jogger in South Georgia pleaded not guilty Friday morning in Chatham County Superior Court in a case that spurred a national outcry after cell phone video of the shooting appeared on the internet. Ahmaud Aubrey, who was only 25 years old, was killed on February 23rd just outside the coastal town of Brunswick, and he became a touchstone in cross-country protests over racial and social justice in the United States. A former law enforcement officer, Gregory McMichael, 64, his son Travis, 34, are charged with murder and aggravated assault. Their neighbor, who shot the cell phone video, William Roddy Bryan Jr., who's 50 years old, was charged with murder and attempt to illegally detain and confine. So you can catch up on that story too on MediaMahima.com. Well, while there is so much unrest with regard to racism in our country, Banujan, Secretary of Defense Mark Esper has issued a new Defense Department policy. If you remember, yesterday we talked about how the army wanted to remove all Confederate symbols or divisive symbols. Well, now today, Mark Esper has announced a new Defense Department policy that will act as a de facto ban on the display of the Confederate flag. The new guidance governs the display and depiction of flags on military installations, and while the policy does not specifically mention the Confederate battle flag, it is not listed among the flags permitted to be displayed. And this policy, actually, why is it important for us to know this, Banajan, is because it comes amid an ongoing debate about the display of the Confederate battle flag and whether military installations named paying tribute to Confederate officers should be renamed. President Donald Trump has resisted renaming these military bases because they stood for, how people actually went against slavery. I mean, they fought for slaves to be in place. So that's something that we need to keep in mind. U.S. immigration officials have been spreading the coronavirus with detainee transfers. Public health specialists have for months warned the U.S. government that shuffling detainees among immigration detention centers will expose people to COVID-19 and help spread the disease. ICE has continued this practice, saying that it is taking all the necessary precautions. It turns out that the health specialists were right, according to a Reuters review of court data records and also the ICE data. The analysis of immigration court data identified 268 transfers of detainees between detention centers in April, May, and June, after hundreds in ICE custody had already tested positive for COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus. Can you believe that? First of all, these people are being detained for just seeking asylum in the United States. On top of it, they get infected by COVID-19, and then they're getting infected by people that are being transferred into their detention centers. It's just. And when the ICE knows fully well what they're doing, and they've been warned against it anyway. So it just appalls me, Altibaba, the absolute lack of social responsibility there. And think about, even economically speaking, nearly a third of more than 40 large companies seeking U.S. bankruptcy protection, they also have been showering their executives with bonuses. Okay, during this coronavirus pandemic, these companies have awarded luxurious bonuses to executives within a month of filing their bankruptcy cases, Vanajan, according to a Reuters analysis of SEC filings and court records. Under a 2005 bankruptcy law, companies are banned, with just a few exceptions, from paying executives retention bonuses while in bankruptcy. But the firms seized on a loophole by granting payouts before filing. 6 of the 14 companies that approved bonuses within a month of their filings cited business challenges executives faced during the pandemic in justifying the compensation. Even more firms paid bonuses in the half-year period before their bankruptcies. 32 of the 45 companies that Reuters examined approved or paid bonuses within 6 months of filing their bankruptcy. The companies are JCPenney, Hertz, Global Holdings. They approved bonuses as few as 5 days before seeking bankruptcy protection. High Crush Inc., a supplier of sand for oil and gas fracking, paid executives bonuses 2 days before its July 12th filing. And of course, I mentioned also to you, Neiman Marcus is one of the companies that closed all of its 67 stores in April and furloughed more than 11,000 employees. The company paid $4 million in bonuses to Chairman and Chief Executive Jeffrey Van Rindonk in February, and more than $4 million to other executives in the weeks before its May 7th bankruptcy. So there are many companies, 42 companies that have done this, and that's why I said lack of social responsibility when they are laying off people and people don't have, money to put food on the table.
Yeah, but that's the capitalist view, right? It's all short-term view. Short-term gains, whatever they have, whatever they can make.
So just take care of the people who are already rich, and
that's it. That's what they care about. They'll see everybody else will go, and then they'll survive.
Yeah.
Herd mentality automatically comes in.
Correct. I don't know. Anyway, it's just really, really disappointing. Anyway, let's go on over and look at what Twitter announced. Panajan, yesterday we talked about how some high-profile accounts were hacked, right? Well, Twitter disclosed that hackers targeted about 130 accounts during the cyber attack this week, an incident in which profiles of many prominent personalities and organizations were compromised. Hackers had accessed Twitter's internal systems to hijack some of the platform's top voices, including presidential candidate Joe Biden, reality TV star Kim Kardashian, former President Barack Obama, Elon Musk, and used them to solicit digital currency. In his latest statement, Twitter has said that hackers were able to gain control to a small subset of the targeted accounts and send tweets from them. The company added that it was continuing to assess whether the attackers were able to access private data of these targeted accounts. The other accounts that were hacked included rapper Kanye West.
Huh? I was wondering how come it's like. I know you talked about Kim Kardashian. I was wondering, Kanye West. Okay.
Then Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. Investor Warren Buffett.
Oh.
Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. And the corporate accounts for Uber and Apple.
Good thing I don't have a personal Twitter account.
I know, Altibaba.
I know, otherwise I would be hacked also.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. That would be hacked, not I. That would be hacked, yes.
Well, speaking of, I forgot to mention this to you guys. We talked about how the small business administration loans were being given only to the bigger people.
Yeah.
Well, U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said today that policymakers should consider blanket forgiveness for all smaller businesses that received the PPP loans. A lot of the small businesses did not receive the PPP loans because banks really screwed us out of it. Let's, I think we should write to Reuters to do an investigative report on this.
Let's do that, Papa.
Yeah. Mnuchin told lawmakers that they should consider such an approach to reduce complexity, coupled with some form of fraud protection. He also said that the Trump administration supports adding more funds to the $660 billion program, as well as allowing especially hard-hit businesses to apply for a second emergency loan. He did not define how small a loan would have to be to qualify for automatic forgiveness, and added that it should be paired with some form of fraud protection without going into much detail. Again, you can find out more about that at mediamahima.com. Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually delivered a keynote address at this year's high-level segment of the United Nations Economic and Social Council, and he actually put a very positive spin on COVID-19, and he said, this is time for the United Nations rebirth.
Wow.
And yes, that's what he said. With our deep commitment to maintaining global harmony and improving socio-economic equity and to preserving nature's balance, India will play its role in full support of the UN agenda.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Way to go, Modi ji. Yeah. Ruk jana nahi.
Ruk jana nahi, tu kabhi haar ke.
Yes.
Great segue into our final iteration of the Gaane Ka Keeda for today, Bandajan. We will tell you, aap bhi ruk jana nahi. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe. We'll see you tonight live at 5 on the Pam Pam Show.
चल के मिलेंगे साए बहार के रुक जाना नहीं.
All right, guys. All of you have a fantastic Friday. We'll see you in the evening live at 5.
चल के मिलेंगे साए बहार के